Hello everyone. Um, as we have been mentioning that the inventory numbers have been going up in Calgary for the past few months, there is a surprising fact today that we will discuss when we discuss our weekly numbers. So I really want you to watch this video. But before we do that, there are a couple things that we wanted to talk about. We know that Bank of Canada's next announcement is coming up on December 11th, which is not that far. And the factors that are going to contribute to the decision they're going to make on December 11th. So we know that they reduced the interest rate last time by about 0.5%. And that's what we are expecting on December 11th. But there are a couple of factors that are going to also impact their decision when it comes to what they're supposed to do. So a couple of things I want you to keep in mind. The job numbers and all the other most of the other data that they're dependent on is also going to come out in the first week of December. That will also impact their decision. But most likely what we're thinking is that they will reduce it by another 0.5%. But here are a couple of things that you need to keep in mind. First of all, Canada's economy, which was expected to grow, obviously it grew by about 1%, which is a pretty good news. But at the same time, the GDP per capita was down by about 0.4%. And that was the consecutively sixth quarter that it went down. So that is supposed to grow as well. But the economy went up by 1%. Most of that actually is coming from government spending. And also people were spending money, but inflation has been quite a bigger factor right now. So when it comes to inflation, that is the second thing we need to keep in mind. In September, we were quite happy that the inflation came down to 1.6%. But in October, it went up to 2%. So that is also going to impact their decision. So they need to control. It is not actually higher than what were supposed to be. They want it to be at 2%. So it is at 2%. It went up obviously from 1.6%, but that will also help them make that decision. So even though we are thinking that they will reduce it by another 0.5%, but if inflation does go up, that can also impact their decision, and they could just actually reduce it only by 0.25%. But they're definitely reducing. There is no doubt about that. So before when I started this video, I mentioned that there was a surprising fact in Calgary's real estate market. One thing we know, and we have talked about this in our previous videos, is that we get really low inventory in our winter months here, but there are so many people from other parts of Canada that move to Calgary and they're looking for homes, and there are still some investors who are still thinking to invest, and we know that there aren't that many properties, especially detached homes, that are less than 600,000 that are easily available. But this week, surprisingly, we had less new listings that came into the market, and there were more sold properties. So now 1 week is not going to tell us the whole story, which way the real estate market is going to go, but we have seen that obviously we're working with some buyers that are quite active. That market is still moving actually in the right direction. And as we mentioned previously, that if the interest rates come down, then it will definitely have an impact. Originally, I was thinking that our first quarter in Calgary is most likely going to be a little slow. But if inventory numbers go down, then that will definitely make a huge difference in our sales in Calgary. So now let's talk about our weekly numbers. We had 376 new listings that came into the market. 71 were back on the market. 323 properties saw a price decrease. 18 properties saw a price increase. 373 properties were pending and now sold. 422 properties were sold, which is quite a big number. Expired 60, withdrawn 5, and 150 properties were terminated. We know that we are still seeing price decreases on most of the properties in the market. And as I mentioned, that these winter months are slower in Calgary. But if this keeps happening, then the market can shift. And if you have any question about real estate, please give me a call at 403-689-2345. Thank you.